Say his name.
Well, we got another up. Yeah, okay. I thought you was about to hop up and run away, Steph. I didn't know what was going on over there. We back again, everybody. We back to be upset with each other for a short second and then be okay after a while. Another Wednesday night segment on the pulse. So of course, as before we always hop into it, I want to see how everybody's doing. And of course, we will start with Lynn and Stephanie. How are you all doing this wonderful Wednesday?
I'm here for the comments. I'm kidding.
Yeah. You're here for the comments. I can dig it. I'm gonna switch this up some because I don't generally like being at the top. I have a specific corner I usually like to stay in. It helps me navigate everything. So I'm gonna save the president for last. Brooks, how has your Wednesday been?
Living the dream, just one day at a time. I got my parting gift, Mr. Medeiros, and life is good.
All right, that's the way to be. That's the only way to be.
Exactly.
And of course, Mr. President Richard Lewis Brown, and he will probably be back. It looked like I think he's about to switch devices. Yeah, he switched devices. That's what I figured he was about to do.
Yeah, my computer was like, it wanted to do a whole new reset or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
So let's get to it.
Let's get to it. All right, there we go. Now I can accept this. This feels better. Once again, I have to. That's my screen OCD, as it were. I always visualize us being in certain places, and it's hard for me to concentrate when we're not there. I lose track of people. So today, well, let me start here. Right, we've had a lot of things happen within the last 3-4 days, roughly. A couple of which we definitely going to talk about. One of the most pressing things that we'll definitely end up getting to, if not tonight, next week, which is the recent decision from the Supreme Court of the United States and the impact that it could possibly have by overturning the redistricting brought to them from Louisiana. And it's odd to me how they're ruling things at this point, because in certain situations, they're allowing the precedence of race to have an effect. But in other instances, they're making sure that race doesn't play a part of something. Mm-hmm. And the influence that it's having is vastly different. For instance, ICE has been allowed to pull people over, stop folks, so on and so forth, based off of racial features, language, accents, so on and so forth, right? So it gives a broad sweeping amount of influence in that spectrum. But when it comes to voting, it's as if their ruling is to diminish. Now, one thing I can say is, either way you look at it, they have been consistent, regardless of whether or not, or regardless of how it affects you. They become consistent with how they've rolled the information out. And the consistency is, it's going to help a specific party and it's going to hurt other people, citizens, unfortunately. And I have to say it that way because that's the only way that I can view it right now. So go ahead.
So I've been up all day. Another reason why I was running late, someone was asking me some questions.
Yeah.
So You know, I have a list of questions regarding today's Supreme Court ruling that Lynn sent us in the text this morning. And I guess my first things is, what if we didn't have political parties? How would that affect gerrymandering? Because everyone says that one party is going to gerrymander to increase its vote in that particular district or districts. But what if we didn't have no political parties at all? And to where you really couldn't. Go ahead, Mr. Brooks. Go ahead.
I like the question on its face, but I just think it's so like unrealistic to what we're living in this day. I'll go back to Mr. Glass, Brother Glass actually said, like, for me, if you don't have an ID, a legit ID, you can't vote. Sorry about your damn luck. You know what I mean? Like, just that's how I feel. You got an ID to buy cigarettes. You got an ID to buy alcohol. You get an ID to drive a car. You know, I don't care. White, black, Asian, doesn't matter to me. Whatever color or what race, creed, religion you are, you don't have an ID, you can't vote. Period. I think it's not a question. It just should be the standard of law.
So if we didn't have political parties, if we didn't have primaries, we just put everybody into a race and said, "Go for what you know," because we're a capitalist society. That's what I've been reminded of by the Republican Party my whole life. We're a capitalist society. Stop crying. Stop complaining about racism. That ended in 1865. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, or in my case, my Stacey Adams. So why don't we just have pure elections, no political parties, no primaries, put everybody in the race and say, go for what you know. And now we have true capitalism in our democratic process.
So how do you pare down the number of candidates?
You don't, because we have a true capitalist society. Because the Republican Party reminded me in the 2025 budget that they said big government has too much interference on businesses and on a free market.
But that's not how capitalism works. Capitalism, you still, when there's a merger or a request for proposal, which I've been a part of many of those, you start with a lot, but they start to pare them down. So when it's time to decide which bid we're going to go for, you're not looking at a table full of bids. You got 1, 2, or 3.
So here's the interesting about this, and I throw it back to Mr. Brooks. Mr. Medeiros, who is a staunch Democrat, it's ironic that the way he says that the Republicans feel the same way. And so my thing is, I don't ever want to be caught being a hypocrite. So when the Republicans tell me to suck it up and get aggressive and stop complaining about this voting and about gutting the Voter Rights Act of 1965, but gut the whole thing, then I say in response, well, since you want me to stop complaining about being black, then I'm asking you respectfully to get rid of all political parties, or at least get rid of the primaries and put everybody in one race. And now I won't complain about being black and being disenfranchised because you're gutting the Voting Rights Act. So I'm trying to make
are like that equivalent. Like really, like you can't just let's get rid of the parties because you're saying Republican, Democrat, put everybody all in the same pot, and then let everybody else choose who they want. And so why?
Because I want to see true competition. I don't want to see political parties trying to put their stamp. So if a political party says we have 3 or 4 people who we believe in, well then you have to decide. Don't get us involved in your nonsense. Let everybody run from that political party so you don't silence their vote. But if you want to put your support behind somebody that's running and say, well, this person has the support of the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, that's fine. But let everybody else within that party go on and run in the general election. Don't throw their votes out, because they didn't get a chance to get votes from people outside the party, such as myself, because of these open and closed primaries. Now, I'm taking this back to
the
the
first issue I come to mind with that, I'm bothered by that, is because when they booted Joe Biden out, they didn't even have a primary, and they just threw in Kamala. The Democrat Party did that. They didn't even like have. They're like, no, you know.
Yeah. Right.
You know.
Wait a minute. So
But
you're
I
right,
just don't
Mr. Brooks.
like.
So you're right. They
I
were
just don't
wrong.
see how
So the
that-
Democratic Party on that particular issue, in my personal opinion, as a non-Democrat, they were wrong. They were wrong, and they were being hypocrites. On that particular issue, they were wrong on that. So to me, if we want everybody to feel like they're part of the American society, and you say, well, Richard, you're part of the nobody party, and there's 7 nobodies like yourself. Why can't all 7 nobodies run in the general election? You say, no, Richard, you're going to run in your own little primary, your nobody party, because nobody wants you. And then we're going to see if you're the biggest nobody who can get the most votes in your nobody party. And if you make it out in the top 2 in California, well, then you can come to the big party. That's nonsense. Because let me tell you what they did in California with this top 2 nonsense.
In the previous election, the Kamala ran for in the primary, and she didn't get 1 vote.
So
like it's simple. Like I'm just using her as a tactical example of like, hey, you know, I get what you're saying, but like, I don't think it'll work.
Well,
So
we'll come back to this next week when we can explore a little more. We'll have a little more time
all
to
these questions to
you know.
ask. That's fine. I can transition.
Yeah, we'll jump into it for sure, and we'll spend a lot more time on that because I don't directly disagree with your theory either, and we can poke holes in some of it, but the at the end of the day, the Supreme Court of the United States of America has purposely set back a segment of citizen intentionally. I don't think it was done out of goodwill. I don't think it was done to simply uphold a specific law. I think it was done intentionally, and I'll dig into it, and I'm going to do a lot of reading on it to form a more educated opinion about that. That's what I'll end.
Yeah, and I'd have to respectfully disagree because I said this a long time ago. The 1965 Voting Rights Act to basically try to enforce the 14th and 15th Amendments. It's been over 60 years. 60 years. So at what point do you say, hey, it's been long enough. We're going to take this idea of trying to protect minorities in voting. We're going to take all that out. We're going to gut it out completely. At what point does it end?
So I answered that. And the answer to that is when you no longer have a first in anything. You no longer have a first Black president. You no longer have a first woman president. You no longer have a first Black this, a first Black that, a first Asian this, a first Asian that. One of the commands that I was in, I was my general was the first Korean general in the history. So when you no longer have to have safeguards against hatred, because we can't legislate morality, but when you don't have to have safeguards as much as possible, when you actually have a civilized society, then we can say, okay, yep, let's do away with this because we no longer need it. But America's not there. America just is.
Well, if that's your answer,
there. I mean, like, I was the first Black master of our lodge in 100 years, so 99 specifically. So I'd say it wasn't 100.
Well,
99 years. It doesn't work that way. It's just like time goes on, and you show your quality by what you do.
That's not. We are not in a society of meritocracy. This is not a society that rewards meritocracy. It is not. And in some corners and some subcultures, we can have that. But America, by and large, is not that utopian society where we can actually simply be based off of the merits of our work and our character. If that was the case, we would not have a person in the executive branch who has had multiple wives, who has 34 felonies, regardless of whether or not you agree with him, who doesn't have a whole list of things that we as a society don't generally agree with when it comes to the individual. So the society in America, it's not a cheap shot. It's a fact, regardless of whether or not you agree with it. It's a fact. Has he been or has he not been convicted of 34 felonies?
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Hold on a second. So factually, wait a minute. Hold on. Listen to this. Factually, when you say that, was he convicted of 34 felonies? Factually, you are correct. And then I'm going to tell you, factually, there's been a lot of black men convicted of murderous crimes, and they've gone to death row, and factually, they've been let loose. So just because you were convicted in court, so that same attitude, that same intensity we have about when it comes to our own black boys and girls in the criminal court system, when they catch a case and we know they're innocent, like those 5 black boys, that Central Park 5, they were convicted. I never accepted that. But by the court of law, they were guilty
until they weren't.
But
until they weren't.
Right.
Which one of his 34 felonies has he been exonerated from?
Not yet.
So it's still a fact.
Right.
Yep,
so what I'm saying is, when you say with that type of intensity, because when people win in the lower court, when people
there's
win
a difference
in the lower,
there.
I'm sorry, Mr. Go ahead. So when people win in the lower court, and it's in their
we gotta use
favor,
the right terms.
Right. So when people win in the lower court and it's in their favor, they tell you that's a fact. And then when it goes to the appeals court and they lose, then they get mad and say, "Well, we don't care about that. We'll appeal to the next court." So as long as courts give you decisions that confirm how you feel about a person, then that's a fact, because now it's okay with you. But when the court gives you a decision you don't agree with, now you're not so quick to talk about that fact. Now you want to appeal and go up the chain. So when
But your status is still your status.
Correct.
Yeah. And I'm
so
not,
right now his status is what? 34 time convicted felon. But that is his status.
That's
now,
fine.
If he finds a way to overturn it, then we have a conversation
guys, we got to use the right terms.
No.
He's not convicted.
What you'll come back and
yes,
say,
he is.
No, he's convicted, Brooks.
He's absolutely convicted.
He's not wrongly accused of it.
He's absolutely
convicted by a jury.
In New York, he's literally convicted. We looked it up. He's convicted.
Yeah. So they're talking about the criminal, not the criminal. It was a civil situation. Wait, the 34 counts, was that criminal? Or was that civil?
That was criminal.
It was criminal. Yeah.
Business
so
write-offs.
The E.G. Girl was a civil situation. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
But all I'm saying with that is, we're not a society based on meritocracy. It's not based on meritocracy.
But if
we have subcultures in our society that are based off of meritocracy, but not everything is based off of meritocracy. And although I don't agree with the Supreme Court, it's still a fact on how they ruled it.
Right, but Mr. Glass, if you're saying that we have to keep keep all the parts, even the ones that hasn't been gutted yet by the Supreme Court, if you're saying we have to keep all that because America's not a meritocracy, I'm gonna tell you this now, and I sound like a white person. White people are not trying to hear that.
Sure.
I'm telling you, and those white conservative judges, they're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And now you say that, when you make that statement, if other people say that statement with the power that you're saying it with, I guarantee you, the next time the Supreme Court gets to anything about the voting rights, 65 voting right, 65. That's 64. 65 voting right. You're gonna gut the whole. You're gonna gut that whole thing like they gutted the abortion issue situation.
Right, and I'm not disagreeing with that either. All I'm saying is, all I'm saying is, am I freezing up? I think I'm freezing up. Yeah, but all I'm saying, oh, okay, I thought I was. All I'm saying is, I don't agree with it, but right now it's a fact. And if our society was actually a succinct society to where we don't need, just going back to your question, where we don't need these safeguards in place, well, then I'd have nothing to say about it. I just want to remind everybody that it wasn't until 2013 that Mississippi ratified the 13th Amendment, right? So if we still have states and leaders and legislatures at the state level that will understand that there's a law, a federal law that was ruled and done with in 1865, and they don't do anything with it until 2013, we can't just be finished with what we have going right now. We have not progressed
I'm
that far in our society,
you know
unfortunately.
What? And I'm going to say this to you, and not that I want to say it. If any other issues come up about the Voting Rights Act of '65, they're going to gut the whole thing. They have to gut it piece by piece. They'll do it because they're not accepting the argument that you're saying that America is not. And I'm not saying, as much as I'm for the community, I'm not saying that you're wrong. But what I'm simply saying is, on this issue of voting, wait a minute, I'm gonna stop because you said you wanted to go to other issues, so I'm gonna stop.
Well, can I say one last thing?
Yes.
And I'm trying to be fair and the voice of reason. When I saw the district that they were trying to create on the map of Louisiana, what struck me was that it stretched 250 miles.
Yeah.
Now, if you got 250 miles, you got people with different agendas.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it had been all like in one little clump, like up there in Shreveport, it's all clumped up there at the top near the chimney, that'd have been one thing. But that thing was stretching almost the entirety of the boot. Yeah. That is Louisiana. So when I saw that, I'm sitting there like, I can see where folks like, nah, that's too long. 250 miles, in my opinion, like 250 miles in California. What is that, Richard? From what city to what city?
From Sacramento all the way down to
you get right north
to Bakersfield, basically. Bakersfield.
Yeah. Is it that far?
Yeah. Because
I don't think it was all the way to Bakersfield. I think that's probably like Sacramento to like. I mean, I live in Sunnyvale.
What I'm saying is just imagine
Sacramento. It takes like 3 hours to get to Sacramento from where I live.
Right.
Well, their strategic answer, there's a couple different answers to this, is when they're redoing these districts to make them partisan, Republican or Democrat, it may not work out the way you want it to work out. That was the other kind of complicated answer about you may stretch them out a little thin. So, we may not know until maybe elections down the road how this really worked out. So, that's why I'm not bent out of shape about this.
Yeah, me either. Because it was like, for me, it's like country mouse and city mouse. They got different agendas. Urban, rural, suburban. You mixing all those things up together, they're not going to be on the same page.
Well, even if they try, I don't think they can do it right before this primary in these states and then their midterms in November. I don't think they can rush this change in. It's too close to the voting period. But no one really knows exactly how all of this is going to work out. Because remember, we first said this when Texas said we're going to do our redistricting. I said, well, the strategists on Trump's side, they told him if Texas comes, California is going to respond, and then we got to respond because California will balance out Texas, and then we got to go to another state, and then a blue state is going to respond. And so when it's all finally done, did you really pick up the number of seats, the Republican Party, that you thought you were going to pick up?
Funny though, we've all already forgotten that legislatures from Texas fled the state. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that, Richard?
I'm trying to think, was those Democrats that did that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they wouldn't be there to vote on it. So they wouldn't be there to vote on it.
Yeah.
You couldn't get enough people to pass it. And that was a thing for a few weeks, maybe even a month. No.
The only thing I remember from that is they left that black Democrat on an island by herself. That's what I remember. at the Capitol in Texas when the Democrats is fighting them on this, fighting them hardcore, and then they all left her behind.
You talking about Jasmine?
No, not Jasmine. She
No,
was a state representative. When the Democrats were like, hey, we're going to fight you. And then they all left. But that black woman, that representative, that state representative, stayed her ass at the Capitol by herself. And then they got worried. I think even a Republican tried to reach out to make sure she was safe overnight because she stayed overnight.
Yeah.
That's what set me off.
Yeah. And so all I'm saying is this is something that I want us to actually dig into and get some good time to research and look into the historical aspect of it. I know we will and begin to try to understand and shape what that means for the voters, because that's who it's going to ultimately hurt. Because that was actually, Lynn, that was a point that I was going to bring up as well, is the length and the breadth of the size of the area that they wanted to do it in. And yeah, I don't agree with gerrymandering. I don't care who's trying to do it. You're suppressing the voice of the voter. And at the end of the day, that's the standard, allowing Americans to express their vote with their constituents properly. And when you do these things, you are literally suppressing the vote of the citizen. And that's a bar too far. So, but yeah, I'd like us to run that back and get into it, because I think it's going to shape up a lot. DeSantis is already making moves and all the other good stuff. So,
and I want everybody to be clear that this is a non-presidential general election come November. And in the state of California, this crazy ass top 2 primary that came about with a Republican and Democratic bipartisan support, that only the top 2 people in this primary in June can make it to the general. And if it's only a Democrat and a Republican, guess what? I can't even do a write-in. They've taken that from me in the state of California, these so-called Republicans and Democrats. I can't even write in.
Well, no, you can't write in during the primary.
No.
Even the general?
In a non-presidential election for the state of California, that's why I've been up for the last few days. For the state of California, I can't even write in I can't even write my own name in. Because there's no little open bubble for me to do a write-in.
Yeah.
Because they've taken that from me. And that was the Democrats and the Republicans.
So you have one of the
territoriality analysis.
So that's happened in 2010, and then went into effect, I think, in 2012. The Democrats and the Republicans had bipartisan support. This is when Schwarzenegger, I think, was still governor. They agreed to do a top 2. And what they really were doing, they were basically saying, we the Democrats, we the Republicans, we run the show here in the country of America. We ain't let nobody else slip in here in a non-presidential election year.
Wow.
And I can go back to my 2022 non-presidential year midterm and show you for governor, I could not write nobody in. I had to choose between a Democrat and a Republican. And that, to me,
that's tough.
So here in Texas, during the primary, you can only vote for somebody in your party. So if there was a Republican that I liked better than a Democrat in the primary, I can't vote for that Republican. I can only vote for the stack. And then also, when nobody gets 50%, the top 2 people have a runoff.
Yeah, in California, our primary
that's
open.
exactly like it's in Ohio.
Yeah, we have an open primary in California. It's open, so they don't care if you get whatever. Only the top 2 get to the end, and that's always going to favor a candidate from the Democratic Party with all that money the Democrats can put in, and also the Republican Party, all the money they can put in. But in this particular case, with this particular election, it's so open and so crazy. The Republicans have 2 guys at the top, and then the Democrats have a few people at the top. It's open, wide open. Currently, by the polls, before these debates next week.
Perspective on the distance.
All right, let's push forward. I've been wanting to pick y'all's brain.
Get perspective on the distance. It's from Sacramento to Bakersfield.
Okay.
That's close.
Your feed
Sacramento
is
to Bakersfield
delayed.
is the kind of the distance that's what we're talking about.
Got it. Your feed is delayed, Brooks.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You probably think we're just talking over you and ignoring you. We're not. You cut out, like you'll just decrescendo, and we'll keep pushing forward. But let's switch topics real quick. Let's push this can a little further and run down the road with the Trump saga as it continues. And let's talk about we'll start out with the latest assassination attempt. We'll start off with the latest assassination attempt. And I'm very hesitant on asking this question, but I will ask it just for the sake of discussion. Real or staged? I don't want to say fake because we saw it. So I'll say staged. Was it a show? Was it a performance? And if you think it was a performance, why? Come on, President. I see you smiling, man. Let's hear what you got to say. I see you.
Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, give me 1,000. He's gonna say fake. So yeah, give me 1,000 on fake. I'm sorry, not staged. I'm not fake. Stage. He's gonna say staged. Give me 1,000 on stage from the president, Richard Brown. Okay, thank you. Book it. All right, I've talked to my recreational engineer.
Yeah.
AKA my bookie. Go ahead, Richard.
Now,
What's up?
No, hold on. I'm gonna laugh at this.
Real?
I'm gonna try to make a joke about this, not in a negative way.
Whoa.
I'm gonna try to hold on. Just hear how I say this.
Come
Because
on, roll.
I called my Democratic friend, older black man. I called my Republican friend, an older white man. Older white man's a marksman. He knows all about. He's prior law enforcement and all that. And they were asking a lot of questions because I was too. So here's my joke about this. See, I am so glad that my light-skinned brothers have finally attained a level of privilege. I am so glad my light-skinned brothers can run through the hotel.
Well, hold it, Richard. Richard. Biracial.
Biracial brothers
Fair.
can run through the hotel.
That's fair.
And they can have guns and knives, and the police are going to make Secret Service is going to make sure they live to tell about it. Because I know in my heart, I just can't prove it, but I know in my heart that'd been my black ass run across. They said, we got to shoot him. So
Now, would they have shot you before you came through the metal detector or after?
my black ass would have never been allowed to be in the hotel. But that's just me being racial. Okay. So now on a serious note, I on Saturday at 4 p.m. don't have a life. I don't have a beautiful wife, no girlfriend, no side chick, nothing. So I'm watching CNN, and I'm watching to see if President Trump comes in, gives his remarks, and stays the whole time. So I'm watching this live. To me, it looked real. People jumping down underneath the table, blah, blah, blah. It looked real to me.
Ash Patel. Anyway, yeah.
I don't think he jumped. So it looked real to me, so I made calls right away. Too many questions are being raised. Now I'm watching CNN and News Nation. My older white friend is watching Newsmax and Fox.
Oh boy.
Now, here's the funny thing. We all know which relatives to go to for which foods, for which pies, for which cakes. If you want to know if that man really had firearms and what kind they were and blah, 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 you go to Fox. Because Fox can't tell lies on firearms because their audience is too well versed. You can't tell that lie to them. So the question is, was it real? Was it staged? At this point, I don't want to make any comments. I'm waiting until September because I need to see the rest of the summer play out. Because to me, it looked real. But the fact that a man can come through a stairwell, you don't have Secret Service inside the stairwell. He runs 45 yards. I guess he's trying out for the NFL team. I don't know. And he's carrying a 12 gauge shotgun, 38 caliber pistol, and a bunch of knives. But he runs 45 yards, and you shoot per Fox 10 rounds, per CNN 5 rounds. But you shoot all those times,
And don't
and
hit
this
him.
white man, I'm sorry, this biracial man survives.
You didn't hit him.
And I stopped there.
Okay.
I stopped there.
And it's okay if I mean, you can always change your opinion. It's how you feel right now.
Because I thought it was real, but there's so many questions being asked that I can't answer. Do I trust any of the mainstream news media to tell me? Oh, I don't know. Do I trust all the conspiracy people on social media to tell me? Oh, I don't know. Can I trust the podcast tonight? Well, they tell me they're the experts, so I guess this is what it's going to be.
But do you trust Wolf? Because he was there.
Who?
Wolf Blitzer.
Wolf Blitzer.
So
You trust Wolf? See?
Oh
There you
man.
go.
I think I
Not
do.
even Wolf?
And
I-
Wolf,
no, I-
and Wolf
I-
we trust.
So I think I trust Wolf because he was shook up. He didn't know.
Yeah.
So I believe that it was real, but I can't explain how you take a shot at a biracial man
That's hilarious.
between 5 to 10 times, and you can't put the animal. I mean, put the person.
Ooh-wee.
You can't put the person. Here.
That's because he's
So
stumped.
I can't explain this, Mr. Medeiros. I can't. I don't have the answers. Because when Leland Bittard, who I know is a conservative, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Brooks.
Can you hear me? Am I like normal again?
Seems that way
Yes.
for now. Yeah.
So when Mr.
Okay.
when Mr. Bittard and my friend says the Secret Service failed, here's where I jump in and say, well, for equality reasons, to make sure we treat women and men with the same level of respect for job performance, when you fired that woman Secret Service director for that attempt in July of 2024, I want to make sure you fire this Secret Service director, a white man.
The white man?
The white man, because I know in my heart, Secret Service should have been inside those stairwells. They should have been up and down that hotel that wasn't closed. And you should have been running a background check and invented the privacy of those guests to make sure that all those guests are on the up and up. If you didn't do that, that's a failure of the Secret Service. And then one more quick point. When the stuff kicked off and the Secret Service run on stage, there's no way in hell that you don't take the greatest white man that the world has ever produced, President Trump, a savior. There's no way you don't take him off the stage first. You go and grab the.
He didn't want to go. He didn't want to go.
That's what he said.
He didn't.
You don't
he
have a
didn't wanna
He was
go.
uncooperative, like he was in Pennsylvania.
So
Point
It's an
taken.
intimidation thing. Is it intimidation? He has an ego of like, no, I'm not going to be intimidated. That's very true of him. It's very obvious, and everybody, Democrat or Republican, knows it. That is totally in character of President Trump, for sure. Like, you see what they did to JD? They just dragged him out of there. You know, like. But
they
like,
had
Trump
to
was
let
like,
him
no.
finish peeing. He was peeing. They had to let him finish peeing first. When they was
Well, they had their whole succession plan in that room. That was a problem too.
So when the Secret Service tells you, I don't care who you are, when they say get your ass up, we're getting out of here, you have to follow their orders. So even though President Trump said, well, I don't want to be the first to leave the stage, you don't have a choice, because by the training of the Secret Service, when there was gunfire, we protect the president first and then everybody else.
That's why he was applauding Ouija James so much, because she was sitting up there with them, and she's definitely, her own person. We enjoy her reporting, but she was just like, okay, yeah, no problem. But she was instructing him to get down and other people to get down and listen to the Secret Service as well. So, yeah.
But
for me, is it really an assassination attempt if I don't get a shot off at the president?
That's a good question.
That's what I was saying. Why are they saying assassination when he said that
because
the president was not his target?
If you look at if you're going to divide this up into parties, the more the Democrats keep doing this, and while even though these crazy people,
he
trying to do these things, the more he'll get popular.
But I'm gonna pause you out on that, Brooks. I'm gonna pause. I gotta pause you there. And we're gonna come back to that point in a second. But go ahead, Steph.
I was saying, is it an assassination attempt when the president is not your target? When they spoke to the gunman, he was saying, or in his Facebook or whatever, his manifesto, that he was going to hit anybody he could. It didn't matter if it was the president or any of the cabinet members. And another question is, if a cabinet member gets shot or killed, is that an assassination?
So I have his exact manifesto on my phone, and he said he was going after everybody from the highest to the lowest, except for Kash Patel.
Yeah, that's
I was gonna share my conspiracy theory in a second, because I saw that also.
Kash set this up.
I'm gonna share my conspiracy theory in a second.
Keep a job.
Okay, so look.
We said that y'all president is a cat.
I just don't think you can do it because it's conspiracy theory. It spreads wrong.
It's a conspiracy theory, and I don't
have
that brother
any.
To brother.
No,
I don't have any basis.
Exactly.
And I'll share it when we're offline.
But those are my questions, and then how it became a love fest for immediately for the FBI and everybody, and how it became a love fest for journalists and the kumbaya moment from Trump of how great the journalists were and the FBI and America. That's what I was just like, where's the apple pie? Because I'm hungry. What's going on? I'm smelling something here. So,
well, remember the Secret Service director is a white man.
But hold on. Women. I don't want to run around too far from the pause button that I stopped at. Brother Brooks, you were making a statement about some form of popularity. Can you rewind that and bring that back up for us?
I was saying that the more these individuals who claim they are lean left in some sort of way keep doing this to Trump, and the more he gets popular, the more people are like, oh, they're really trying to do this. It's not a good thing. It's just horrible, actually, because we've had, 3 assassinations for president? I think it's 2 or 3. And this cannot be allowed. I think it was who put in the Secret Service? Was it Roosevelt? Put in the Secret Service after the previous president from Ohio got assassinated. In line at an amusement park or something like that.
Is that McKinley? McKinley?
Yeah, I think McKinley. Yeah, from Ohio, he got assassinated in line at an amusement park or something like that in Ohio. And then the next president who just he became president for that reason, he started the Secret Service, gave protection to the president full time, because there was not full time protection to the president before that. And it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican, you cannot have actors trying to assassinate the president. So you just can't.
Let me go back and ask. Okay. Let me ask this question. You started out by saying that whenever a Democrat, I think, and I could be wrong, I'm trying to paraphrase here. Whenever a Democrat does this, it just makes him more popular or somebody from the left.
Well, yeah, because the reason why I said that is because he's already polarizing, obviously. Then people start to realize, oh, they keep trying to do this, and then he just gets more pop. That's the like, oh, they're only going to elevate his brand by doing this kind of nonsense.
The last couple of
true,
attempts,
like-
the last couple of attempts were done by people who were what?
I don't know
We're
what the
talking about-
golf
okay.
thing was.
They were right leaning. I think the guy in the bush, I'm not sure what he was, but the guy on the roof was a right leaning guy.
Mhm.
And
Who
this
he
guy,
said he hated the president.
say again?
He said he hated the president.
Yeah, but his beliefs
He
were
wasn't
still
the president. He wasn't the president yet.
right. He was a candidate.
He was a candidate for president.
Okay, pardon me. But he said he hated Trump. I guess I'll have to say it like that.
There you go.
At
Yeah,
the time.
but I believe he had right wing ideologies, if memory serves me right.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember
But
about the
you-
guy in the
like,
bush.
he said himself that he hated the president.
Sure,
The
but
president
hating
was
the
Joe
president-
Biden at the
Candidate
time.
at the time. Oh, pardon me, candidate at the time.
but even hating the candidate doesn't mean that he's pro left.
Okay, fair. Okay, I'll take that. Fine.
And
But I'm
so
saying that all this does is boost people's, I guess, ideology that, like, dang, they are literally trying to kill this man. This is messed up.
Yeah, but
It's only going to establish him as more of a good leader.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
I don't-
you know this.
Nobody said anything.
well, I don't know if you were still with us last week when we kind of talked about this before it actually happened, and we were mentioning the midterms and how the ways that he was going to try and rally people, and it was made mention that there was going to be another attempt, and I said there might be another attempt, but this has become a movie. We are all a part of the biggest set of The Apprentice in the world. And so, just like movies and just like different types of series, the series or the segment or the episode that gets the biggest or best viewing is the first one. Ratings generally begin to drop after that, right? And because this has become such a continuous thing, as a matter of fact, I asked everybody if they knew what happened the same night as the State of the Union address. The same day as the State of the Union address, there was another school shooting. And Americans at that point were like, okay, well, thank you for telling us. We're going to watch the State of the Union address. And I said that to make this point. Both of those things. At this point, Americans become emotionally numb very quick and desensitized, especially when it becomes something televised and you have performative measures put to it through the media. He's not getting the same type of response as he did the first time or even the second time. As a matter of fact, this time, you have more people on an everyday level at an everyday basis who feel they've lost trust in the executive branch, first of all. And they feel as if it was staged. I don't think it was staged, but now people have become emotionally numb because he's used up his emotional purview at this point. He's stripped it from everybody, even from his own followers. MAGA at this point is calling the previous
that by saying, do you think? Give me
Go ahead.
counter that by giving my example. Like I spoke on McKinley, right? So how McKinley won his presidency because he was a low-level dude. Just I think it was in like banking and in Ohio, and he invited people to his house. I think it was in Canton, Ohio. And what he did is like invited a whole bunch of people to the house and said, hey, you know what? I'm looking to run for office. And then he just more people kept coming, and more people kept coming, and more people kept coming. Like, you can look up the story, like how he became president. And like, he had probably the most individuals ever to this day come to his house just asking for their vote and having like tea and coffee and biscuits or whatever the hell they had back in the day.
I'm failing to see the correlation because President Trump has never invited the normal people, a normal person, to his house. As far as I know.
My point being in that is like the Secret Service had to be created because like there's no longer this freedom of like, hey, you know what? If Lee Brooks wanted to run for president, I can't invite people to Sunnyvale in my place and like have that freedom. Otherwise, because if somebody disagrees with me, hates my ideology, they're gonna just try to kill me. You know what I mean? Like the point being is like you have to like at this point, we were going to be like, oh wow, not only does he need protection from X person who's going to try to do this, that like hopefully that we can get like his viewpoint out and or the X person's viewpoint out. An X person meaning my competition who's running against me viewpoint out. And they're protected all the same. Like,
so in normal situations, I would agree with you, but this isn't a normal situation. This president doesn't care to hear from anyone except for himself. And I would also I'd push back on the point of some form of civility coming primarily from the left, when we've seen over at least the last 10, 11 years and heard what this president and candidate and president again has done and said while holding the executive seat and while running for the actual position. There's nothing civil that's come out of his mouth whenever he's spoken against an opponent. Low IQ, Marjorie Taylor Trader Brown. He's talked horribly about folks with disabilities. He's called soldiers losers, right? So he even talked bad about former candidate McCain. There's nothing civil that has come out of his mouth that would assist him in having a platform to say, hey, let's tone it down. So it's hard for me to agree to a point of civility when the person who's pushing these buttons primarily has the biggest microphone and megaphone in the United States of America. He's the one that's literally fanning the flames of this fire, literally on an everyday basis. I will challenge you to go back and look at any of his speeches, any one of his speeches within the last 10, 11 years where he was not ridiculously bashing someone.
So James, even the night of the assassination attempt, I just looked it up. So even if you are a cabinet member and somebody attempts to kill anybody, it will be considered an assassination. So I understand.
Okay. Exactly.
But the other thing is he started off saying the person was sick person. So I was like, wow, he's being mature. Okay, I always give people the benefit of the doubt, or like they say, enough rope to hang themselves. Okay, you don't start off safe with me. But anyway, excuse me, as soon as he continued talking, the longer he talked, then he started calling the man a whack job. He didn't know anything about his mental health. He just kept talking. He became whack jobs, crazy. He didn't say Fruit Loop, but it was just all of these different names that he was calling him. And that was the first time he spoke. And then when later when he spoke and he kept talking about Melania, and even during the interview with Nora Jones, which is my girl, she stood her ground. He was calling him a whack job and things like that by then he knew what his mental state was. You know, they had investigated more. So you just let him talk again. I was happy that at first he was saying, oh God, this guy is sick and all this kind of stuff, just to be careful and to be polite. But the longer you let him talk, he comes out.
So factually, I want to go back to about the Ryan Roop, the guy that was hidden in the bushes. He was attacking from the left. Now, he had supported some people on the right, but eventually he supported people on the left in the 2024 election.
The guy on the roof? Or at the
No,
the
Ryan
bushes.
Roop, the guy in the bushes in Florida on that attempt that was convicted. Now, CNN ran a poll, and their poll said that the attacks on the left in the last year were higher than it was from the right. When CNN runs a poll that doesn't really support their agenda because they're giving you straight numbers, that's interesting. But they ran it all the way back from 1994 up to now, and the right had more attempts and negative behavior than the left. But in the last year, it's come from the left. Other part, but you already beat me to it on Tehran Khamis.
Tehran Khamis.
President Obama, I thought he led it for the most attempted assassinations, but I was wrong. Gerald Ford had the most direct. See, this is where it gets interesting. When they talk about direct assassination attempts versus just assassination attempts, Obama was always under the gun. A lot of times when he was supposed to go places and he would have to say, I'll skip this one. He didn't want to skip it. But now this could be a conspiracy. Allegedly, the Secret Service loved Obama. I don't know with this particular Secret Service if the entire Secret Service group, the entire group loves President Trump. I don't know.
Well, but even if they don't, the hope is that they're professional enough that they don't allow that to interfere. The hope is that they don't allow that to interfere with their job. When you're performing those jobs, your bias has to be the I would hope if I was in one of those positions, my bias would be the last thing. I still have, this is still, regardless of how I feel about the man.
You didn't listen to his words in his campaign.
But he's still the president of the United States of America at the end of the day.
2024 campaign and then 2023 going into 2024, he stated he didn't want the Secret Service protecting him. And he stated, I think his son kind of backed him up, he wanted to eliminate the CIA because he didn't trust neither one to keep him alive. And actually, on those two statements about the Secret Service and the CIA, on those two issues, President Trump is not wrong.
He's
not wrong.
I don't.
Let me help. And I've been wanting to say this since Brooks was talking about. So the Secret Service started in 1865, and their organizational mission was to combat counterfeiting. And there are a few good movies. One of them may be called The Counterfeiter or Counterfeiters, where the war was almost lost by the enemy's ability to copy 50s and 100s.
Oh yeah,
to the point where they could cripple the war effort. They had Jewish people being under the thumb of Nazis that were counterfeiting, expert counterfeiting American money and London. English pounds. Pounds and dollars is what they were focused on. But they so for 35 years they just did that, and then after McKinley, they added protection and law enforcement to their description. Because I tell this tale when I had to deal with financial crimes back in a few years ago. I actually was one of the people sitting across from me was a Secret Service agent. There was a Postal Service agent and a Secret Service agent. Because they want to get you for laundry, and they want to get you for mail fraud, and they want to get you for wire fraud. So that's why those people are sitting across from you when they're trying to do you. So just because you're in the Secret Service doesn't mean you're in a protective situation. You could be in there for financial crimes, because they still handle financial crimes, especially counterfeiting, today, because that's where they started. That was their foundation.
And for a quick side,
absolutely.
And for a quick side,
when they realized there's a need for presidential protection, that's when they added it in after McKinley.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
And
for 35 years, they just worked on financial crimes.
Yeah. And for a quick side note, when you look up the presidents, starting with Lincoln, who were against the central bank or the Fed and keeping us on the gold standard, look what happened to them. So first they got Lincoln, then they got Garfield.
They went to Broadway shows? Is that what they did? I'm sorry, off Broadway? Because I don't think he was in New York when it happened.
So they got Lincoln, then they got Garfield, then they got McKinley, and then they finally ended with who? JFK. Okay. We're talking.
So, but I want to continue on my platform of civility. And the reason why is because this will segue me into the next point. The every time, whether it has been President Trump or candidate Trump, he's taken the stage or had the position of interacting with the public. Matter of fact, I'll just say it like this. Whenever he has been the president, hate crimes have been up. They spike drastically and almost immediately across the country. And there's a reason for that. There has been very little. As a matter of fact, I remember he was on the campaign trail the first time and he was telling people to punch folks he disagreed with that was in the crowd, and he bailed them out. Right. So that pushes me over into even telling jokes, because when we begin to see the freedom of speech become infringed on because of a joke that somebody doesn't like from this administration or the wife of this administration, things begin to become a bridge too far, right? Everything that he says is a joke, isn't it? Everything is a joke.
In a rule, the unwritten rule, there's unwritten rules in baseball.
Where?
There's unwritten rules in basketball. Like presidents' wives and their children are off limits. Period. That is
Since when?
That is the unwritten. That's the unwritten rule. You know what I mean? You know unwritten rules. It's true.
No, I don't know about this unwritten rule, because they still call former First Lady Michelle Obama Michael. So I don't know about this unwritten rule.
And when Clinton was doing his thing, they were talking about they were calling Hillary Clinton Tammy Wynette, standing by her man.
Yeah. I don't know about this unwritten rule.
No, they're not off limits. In that arena, in the celebrity arena.
In my opinion, I guess I'll say,
okay,
wives or children are off limits, and it's very distasteful. It just shouldn't be. You can attack Trump all you want, not his wife, and saying something so crass like that. That's so low on the totem pole of decency that you just shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it.
Where was the offense with him talking about her directly?
Looking like an expected widow. That's what people.
Like you don't know what we're guys, right? So and young lady Stephanie, nobody wants to say, my other half or your other half or anybody's other half on this podcast was going to be a widow or a widower, and have somebody come at you like that in a quote unquote joke. That's low. I almost swore. That is not okay.
So
it's not okay.
When do we finally begin to having these lines drawn after the years of hearing him tear people down? And the people that he's torn down have been somebody's wives or sisters or aunts, right?
Look how he talked to Laura O'Donnell on
yeah, absolutely.
On 60 Minutes.
There was another representative whose husband was bashed in the head with a hammer.
Yep.
Where was this line? That's what I'm asking. And so why do we at this point take such offense? I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm simply confused. I'm confused at a couple of things. First off, like Lynn had mentioned, the president had been avoiding that specific banquet for years. But all of a sudden, the whole administration wants to come. That's the first thing. Second thing is, why all of a sudden are we at a point to where, hey, yeah, we know what he said, but you've got to forgive him because that's just how he talks. But no, you, Jimmy Kimmel, you're a comedian in real life. What are you doing? What are you doing? You can't say that. How do we get there? And how do we rationalize how do we get to a legal point or framework to say when that is right and when that is wrong, when you turn around and you watch and you listen to his actions?
So
you mentioned something earlier about people get numb to repetitive actions, right? So I think
like school shooting.
To answer your question, how do you get there is like, I think after Charlie Kirk's assassination, and you hear his widow, and then like that's where like the American public is like, oh, okay, they're going to do this. Oh, okay. You got these crazy people out there on the right and the left who are going to do this. Oh, okay. We have to stop this. This has to stop. Period.
So
both sides.
So, Mr. Brooks, I'm going to halfway agree with you because I didn't like how they made fun of Erica Kirk. I don't like that. And I don't like when Jimmy Kimmel said that statement about Melania Trump. But I'm going to go back to something that's more clear cut. Do you remember January 6, 2021? January 6th? And so his supporters were there. He told them to go and be peacefully, but they didn't do it peacefully. And then he exonerated them later on. So when they were yelling about hang Mike Pence, see, I've never heard white people say hang other white people, because as a black person, I'd say white people would never say hang one of their own. In this case, I was wrong. So when they were saying hang Mike Pence, that's to me is insightful. If that's not clear-cut insightful behavior, then I don't know what is. So when they said that on January 6, 2021, President Trump says, maybe our supporters have the right idea. Mike Pence deserves it. I don't need any other comments when he talks bad about black people or about Michelle and Barack. That's baked in the cake. This is how we got here. But when you will, as a white person, not condemn or support hanging another white person, then I kind of know where I stand. I don't need the Central Park Five. I don't need any other. I don't need when you pushed out the Prime Minister of Montenegro for that picture in Europe back in 2017. See, a lot of people forgot about that. I didn't. You pushed out a white man, another white man, so you could be the center of attention in the picture.
Oh, yeah.
See, I can't shake that off. If I'm biased about those black men being exonerated and you still wanted the death penalty for them and you wouldn't give an apology, and I'm black and I'm biased towards my own, I can accept that. But I can't accept you going across the ocean and physically on camera pushing another white man. I guess I'm conditioned to be a slave, pushing another white man out of the center of the picture. And when they talk about hanging Mike Pence, an honorable white man, you say, well, maybe he deserves it. And those are on those issues. So when I have come to his defense on certain issues, I have been jumped on by the black community. But when I come and say, President Trump, there's certain things you can't do. And I know you're a white man. I get it. You can kill 100 black folks and get away with it. But you can't say go hang another white man. Hold on now. Hold on. Wait a minute. You've gone too far.
Were you about to say something, Steph?
Well, I was just about to say, why not? He has no allegiance or loyalty to anybody.
Yeah. In his mind, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, and he does.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying until he will eventually be corrected, because I haven't seen any correction lately. I've just seen diversion, because he goes from all these different things. He goes from the war, and then when we bring him back to Epstein, then, it'll be something else. He just goes all over the place. So, yeah, he knows how to distract, I guess you would say, Well, just the American people in general. He knows how to do that.
Taka.
Squirrel.
But I will say this. When the Democratic Party as a whole, not just black folks, but Democratic Party as a whole, when they said that this man in the White House is a threat to democracy, he's a threat to civilization, he's a threat to humanity. Now, for some people, that's insightful language. But when they call him a Nazi, see, if a black people call white people Nazis, white people say, "Is that all you got? You're just mad about slavery. Get over it."
Would you say they're not denying the truth?
But when white people call other white people Nazis, oh, we have a problem. Because that's not civil. So if we argue as black people and try to kill each other in the streets over some crack rock and blah, 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 that's baked in the cake.
And then when you say blanket statements like that, some of us do that. But you know what?
There you go.
Because I feel like a lot of times, and I've asked you this in the past, when you talk about white people, it's one way, but then like the way that maybe they perceive us, like all of us are on drugs and all. And no, everybody does not have a one-parent home. And listen, even if you have a one-parent home, thank God for the one parent, because white people go through that too. We're just in the limelight about it, I would say, the most. Now, when we look at stats, that's great. You can, but just because a person is there doesn't mean that they're necessarily there.
Well, then maybe that's the Farrakhan and the Umar coming out in me, and I'm a chocolate one. So when I say white people as a whole, in my personal opinion, white people as a whole, will they ever find us equal? No, they will not. But I still have a belief in God, and I still have a belief in the country. But do I think white people as a whole find black people as a whole, where we'll have a country based on meritocracy that Mr. Glass was talking about at the very beginning of the conversation? No, I do not. I do not believe that.
Sometimes when you just said black people, you said what you said about white people, then you said black people, and the reference was to drugs. And I guess that you meant that from the white people point of view.
Correct.
Because I'm like, sometimes we act like we don't even know. It's like a stench when people are smoking all that weed and you walk past and it's like, damn, y'all don't know y'all smell like that. But it's an air that is given off, where we do have our own prejudices, and we have to self-correct too. But I just want to make sure that I am not including the masses when it comes to all black people. Don't do drugs, don't smoke weed, don't steal. They have, good homes. They have great families. They have life insurance, just anything. It's just all these stereotypes that, I'm becoming, or making it my purpose to become more aware of how I come across and how I say things, actually how I hear things, especially for our race. You know what I mean? Because people always flush us down the toilet anyway, because with that whole stigma. And I just get sick of it. I guess at this point in my life, I'm just more proactive.
I agree with her. Like she's absolutely correct. How she says it specifically. There's that stereotype. It just exists, and you have to we move forward from it. I'm educated. Everybody on this panel is educated and smart and cool people. I've only met James in real life. I've met you guys plenty of times on this podcast. I look forward to maybe we do a live podcast. James, there's a pitch for you. And so,
I don't have the finances to fly everybody out.
Why do you need to come down?
Silicon Valley over here.
I will host in Silicon Valley, because St. Louis, last time I went there, my company's headquarters is there. It was almost a tornado. I'm like, oh no. So
you know what? Hold on. Because I'm pretty set on this. And I don't mean to disrespect nobody, because I'm gonna kind of say it the way I see it. And when I say a majority of white people don't find a majority of black people as being their equal, I mean that.
Yeah.
And here, let me go to something, because I want white people on this show to hear something. So when I'm going off about certain things like, oh, stop making it so racial, stop talking about the past, Richard, get over it. I want to go to something that I have this whole damn speech that he gave the honorable white man, King Charles, when he came over here. And there's something in that speech that really set me off. And then I thought about you, Mr. Glass. So here it is, 2 minutes and 2 seconds. And so he's talking, welcoming King Charles. He says, here on a wild and untamed continent, they set loose the ancient English love of liberty and Great Britain's distinctive sense of glory, destiny, and pride. See, when he said that, I thought right away, oh, I don't like what's coming. That sounds like some manifest destiny to me.
Yep.
So then he goes on and says this, and that's what it is. This is what President Trump's saying. Glory, destiny, and pride. So when I speak my glory, destiny, and pride, I'm a little outside the box. So then he says this. The American patriots who pledged their lives to independence in 1776 were the heirs to this majestic inheritance. And here's what set me off.
I told y'all what he was coming over to do.
Their veins ran with Anglo-Saxon courage, with hearts beat with English faith. But that word Anglo-Saxon. Now I could laugh and joke and say, well, I feel disrespected because what about the white Jews? You disrespected them and now I'm offended. And I am kind of offended by that because the Jews were part of that group of Northern Germans in Denmark that went over to England. But the word Anglo-Saxon, somehow, some way, when we're talking about the greatness of this country in its 250th year, you talk about Anglo-Saxon. Now, I have a hard time believing if President Obama or any other of the presidents were in office, they would have said the word Anglo-Saxon. But then I have Mr. Glass to remind me, I told you that Stephen Miller was writing that shit. I told you that, Mr. Brown. Now, I can't prove that Stephen Miller put the word Anglo-Saxon in there. So when I talk about blackness and blah, 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 and white folks come at me, I said, well, wait a minute. When you talk about the greatness of this country, that I back you up on, even with your character thoughts and your foundation, when you say certain words, when I come back with my certain words, don't say nothing to me. And this is what he was saying to King Charles. Those kind of words. And then he said Anglo a few more times in his speech. Now, nobody else really got upset on TV. They said, well, this is who he is.
Evaluate him.
This is who he is.
Okay.
So you got the Diana, he was Prince.
Mm-hmm.
So, these words. So when I say certain things and I say, a majority of white America feels a certain way, when you can come out and say Anglo-Saxon, ain't nobody gonna call you on it. Not even from the left.
Yeah, I haven't heard that word. No.
Yeah. So this is in the speech because when he said that speech, I said, you know what? No one's gonna believe Richard. They'll say he's just being black and angry again. And so what I do, I go on my little computer skills, what little I have, and I pull that speech down off YouTube. And I have it in my phone for life. Mm-hmm. So that on certain issues, when I defend Trump, okay. But on certain issues, when I say, no, you full of it, here we go. And so now I'm truly unbiased in my opinion.
All right, so overall though, because you with the most white people this, most white people that, overall, what is Trump? Good or bad?
Your black card is blowing in the wind.
I'm waiting.
Everybody, here we go again. Everybody knows the answer. Everybody just looking right now.
That's a bit much.
You're going to say it.
No, they said that's a bit much.
He is a bad human.
No,
being.
Mr. Brooks, Mrs. Medeiros is correct. She's correct. And what I would simply say is this. Black folks have not supported me in my voting since the time I first started voting. And I know I say things that black folks don't want to hear. And I'm not going to condemn him, nor am I going to judge him. Because I didn't vote for this individual. And I can show you my voting record. And I can show you where I voted for Barack Obama twice. Wait. 2008, I can't show you that one. But the 2012, I can show you. So when we have to judge each other in the community about whether we voted for Trump, or we say was he good or is he bad. He hasn't finished his last 2 years, but most of y'all will say we don't need to see any more. Yes or no, Mr. Brown? Is he a good president or not?
That's a person.
You said person.
Person.
Oh, I'm sorry, a person.
We already know we already know he's a bad president. I'm talking about the person.
Overall, I'm not satisfied, and so no, I don't think he is a good person.
There you go.
And I don't want to judge him because I don't want to
judge him.
No. Because
You got
here's
the
the
power to
problem.
judge him.
Well, here's the problem.
Well, you would be judging the office. I mean,
How are you judging him?
But I mean,
Judging
and it's not like judging him, saying that you know what, Richard, I identify with what you're doing, but my sister always called me on it, especially like if someone does something wrong, like biblically speaking, I would say, oh my God, that's so horrible. And I'll say, oh, he's really a bad person, and I'm angry about it. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to judge him. And she's saying, you're not judging him.
Mm-hmm.
You're judging his character, what he did. His action. If he robbed a bank, if he raped somebody, if she, abused a child, that's bad. My thing is there is no perfect president.
So I remember. Well, wait a minute. I remember when I left the Democratic Party and I had to make decisions. Okay. I hated the Bush, the son, because I felt like he lost a lot of lives. I hated him, and I had to learn to get over that hate. I never expected much from President Obama. I'm not like some black folks that expect him to do all these great things. I never expected anything. The only thing I wanted, that I hoped for, is for President Obama and his wife and kids to come out of office alive. That's what I hoped for, and that happened. That's all I wanted. I didn't want anything else. So there are people who hate Trump so much. I don't hate him.
I don't hate him either. And I was hoping, I was hoping he's working on it. Trust me. I was hoping that once I saw that headline, I said, oh God, I don't want them to kill him. That's what I said. So, but as they got into it and it became this love fest, the FBI, this is the greatest American, blah, blah. I was just like, wow. But yeah, I don't want anybody to kill him, but I do want to see him pay for his crimes. And look, I ain't judging him. I want to see him pay for what he's done to so many people.
He's going to do the exact same thing that Biden did. He's going to pardon himself, his whole family, and that's what Biden started.
Joe didn't pardon himself. Joe didn't pardon himself.
Oh, pardon me. It's his whole family. Everything's going to be
pardon his whole family. He pardoned his son with the laptop.
Oh, come on now, man. He pardoned everybody.
No.
He's done. He's done. Just like on October 31st, Halloween next year, where USC plays Ohio State, we're going to whip your ass.
What does that have to do with Joe? Joe pardoned his son. Now, he said he wouldn't, and he changed his mind.
And he did.
Okay. Nothing wrong. Listen, there's nothing wrong with changing your mind.
I was going to say,
you know what? I want Italian tonight. And then you change your mind and get Chinese.
Or like,
calm down.
Wait,
Mr.
Brooks,
it's not a Chinese versus Italian dinner conversation. Like nobody's slow here in this conversation. Nobody is stupid in the conversation. That is different, and you know it is.
Hey, wait a minute, and I know what Mr. Brooks is saying in spirit about Joe Biden. So Mikey Famine, I'm glad he came on here and he's putting this stuff in there. First of all, I do know about Fred Trump and about his and about his father. Okay. And when he says Joe Biden was just as racist as Trump, Joe Biden was racist back in the 70s and 80s and the early 90s. Yeah, that is correct.
He supported freaking the Ku Klux Klan. That's the facts. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. It's actually on fact.
He wasn't a part of the Klan.
Fred was arrested.
He was against school desegregation, Mr. Brooks. So that was to me somewhat racial to me. In my opinion.
You're right.
And then he supported the 3 strikes and you're out situation. To me, that was racist, and that came with Clinton. I think that was wrong. But there are certain people. If you ask me, do I think Jimmy Kimmel should be allowed his freedom of speech to make jokes? Absolutely. Do I think people should be allowed to make jokes about people's wives? Sure. However, when it comes to the president living and his wife, in other words, if that was President Obama and he survived an assassination attempt and someone made a crack about Michelle Obama, Black America wouldn't play that.
Well, Richard, that's not the order of things.
Okay, go ahead.
He did this show before the dinner. And when he said expected widow, it wasn't about Trump getting shot.
Right,
it was
right.
about Trump's health. Mr.
Right.
224, 6'3", with 5% body fat. That's what he was. That's what he was counting.
So when the president had an assassination attempt in August or in July of 2024, and then the next year there was another attempt with the guy in the bushes, Ryan Ruth, and then there was another attempt where a guy tried to jump over the White House fence and they shot him.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that fella.
Yeah, I didn't, because my friend reminded me of that. So when all that happened, so when you go on and when a man has had 3 separate attempts before this 4th one, and then you still make a joke about his wife, when you know doggone well there are people who want to get Trump up out of here, so that's when it gets a little dicey. That's all I'm saying.
Well, all I'm saying, listen, his intent was about the health, and I'm going on the record.
Okay,
I've called my bookie and Polymarket. I don't believe he will survive this administration. Why? Because I'm looking at an unhealthy man.
Oh, Mr. Medeiros, you should not go there, dude. Come on, man. You're better than that.
No,
you are. You just are.
Listen. You know what I am,
man.
Brooks. You know what I am for the last 33 years? I am a life underwriter. I sell life insurance for a living. I can look at unhealthy people.
Decent human being.
I can look at unhealthy people and tell you
that is almost clickbait bullshit.
It's not
that,
clickbait.
You know you don't believe.
It's not clickbait.
Let me ask a question. Let me ask a question. If a person is showing signs of mental deterioration, will you?
Oh, Biden in the
hold on. Will you continue to simply say that they are still cognitively able to run a country?
Biden in the debate, and you haven't answered. I gave you
hold
a point.
on. If you see that a person is mentally declining, and you okay, let's take the debate into consideration, and you see that they're sliding mentally, is it ill to say they are cognitively out of here, that they can't run this country successfully because they don't have the mental capacity? Is that a wrong thing to say?
Are you asking me well, do you enact the amendment or not? That's what you're asking?
No. I'm just asking. I'm simply asking if you see that a person is struggling mentally in a debate, that's supposed to be running a country, is it wrong to say that person has mental issues? Their mental capacity is failing them. They won't survive their next administration if they win.
I think it's subjective, apparently. But when you do it in front of 50 million people, I guess we'll call it. I don't know.
Even if it was in front of one.
Who's in front of 50 million people? Kimmel?
I said I didn't know how many people.
Out your mind, man. Kimmel ain't 50 million people ain't watching Kimmel.
No. I'm talking about debate specifically on Biden.
So and I'm asking this because we've heard people saying this already, that President Biden wasn't mentally fit to run the country. They wanted to enact the 25th Amendment, so on and so forth. I don't think that it's in bad faith or bad humor or ill will to say, looking at the president's health right now, looking at the lesions that are happening with the skin, looking at the swelling that are happening in the ankles and the feet, I don't think it's an ill thing to say, hey, health-wise, he might not make it. I had to listen. I had to, and I don't even like saying this, but I have to be honest about a thing. When I was in the hospital, the last time I was in the hospital with my mother, and I saw things happening artificially, I had to look at the doctor, look at my mother, and make a decision to pull the plug because she was no longer there. I would have been lying if I would have said she's going to pull through. That's a lie. That's a lie. That would hurt more to lean into than to simply acknowledge where we were. If a person's health is failing them, that's a simple truth. We can see this happening. His health is, he's had things on his neck.
My large brother,
He's had things on his
my
hands.
large brother, I watched it live pass away in front of me. And I'm telling you right now, he was one of my close friends, and he passed away in front of me. And like, it wrecked me into to the point where like the guys of our lodge came over to my place and just like checked in on me because they knew I saw it, and I was the last one there when he passed away. And
so,
like, I'm telling you right now, that just changes you as a person. And my point being is like you gotta, like, for the president of the United States of America, right or left, it doesn't matter. You've got to be able to make sure that he or she, if that occasion arises, is okay. And like, you don't insult their wife, you don't insult their kids, you just don't do it. That is
well, then I think that becomes a double standard.
Yeah,
right? Because remember, that seat is a seat of servitude. He is serving at the pleasure of the people of the United States of America. Very similarly so as when you sat in the East and you served at the pleasure of your brothers, right? So just because he's there doesn't mean that he is immune to several things. He's not immune to criticism. He's not immune to honesty. He's not immune to facts, right? That those are not things that are debatable. If something's failing, it's simply failing. I can't go outside and do 2 miles in 12 minutes and 13 seconds anymore. I can't. My wrists are failing. My ankles are failing. My feet are failing. My knees are failing. That's the truth. I've got more years behind me than what I have in front of me. And it shouldn't take a relationship to be able to say that about me or for me to say about you. The truth is, the president isn't healthy. Everybody was very bombastic in saying it when Joe Biden was in that seat.
Right.
But now everybody wants to have constraint when it's about Trump.
And another thing is, Brooks, you're saying that, and I mean, that's respectful and everything. What you're saying, that some people should be, I mean, you should be off limits. That's like old school or self-respect, whatever you want to say. But you are holding people to a standard that the president of the United States does not. Meet. He doesn't meet that standard. He is one of the only ones in my lifetime that I have seen just, I mean, it's no holds barred. He can go out and say whatever he wants to say about any and everybody, even people with mental, physical, this is not new, any type of disability, you know, people that are like old, he doesn't consider himself, you know, that at all, but he says whatever he wants to say. And then this whole thing with putting the Obamas in well, he says it was what was it, Lion King, but like they said, they didn't see no gorillas in Lion King, but okay.
So the video got sent to him, and then he looked through the whole video, and then he just put the video up. He didn't watch the whole video all the way through, but he never apologized.
Yeah, that's what he says. I don't believe that
at all.
I don't even.
And you know what? I want to say
he
this.
watched it and laughed his ass off.
I want to say this because we were just watching Colbert the other night. Colbert still makes fun of Biden.
Yeah.
To this day, Stephen Colbert will throw on some Biden sunglasses and be Sleepy Joe, and he'll hit Trump. He hits Trump more than he hits Biden.
Yeah.
But comedians made fun of Biden when he was president.
Yeah.
That's part of the job. And if you don't want to be, if you don't want to be criticized,
that's SNL. Yeah.
Exactly. Every week, if I'm president, I'm gonna get clowned on SNL every week, whether I'm Democrat or Republican.
So check this out.
Well,
And this is from Mr. Brooks. I do believe, because we don't know his medical file, I do believe though all the things he said about Joe Biden being old and not having it anymore, I think those words may catch him in this term. I think that he's going to show some signs of age too, if he's not already showing them.
Oh, he is showing. You know he's showing them, Richard.
Listen, I didn't disagree with him when he said it. I didn't disagree with former president at the time, Trump, when he said it. Right?
Yeah.
That's true.
But check this out, because we want equality on both sides, and this is why I don't trust the Democrats or the Republicans. The Democratic controlled media, if I can say that, other than Fox and News Nation, they're going to make fun of you. They're going to talk about you. Okay, I get that. But because this particular president is so direct in your face, and he'll say anything and everything that comes to his mind, then the Democrat controlled media says, well, since you want to play this way, you want to act this way, we're going to get at you and we're going to keep coming. So even when we said that you were unbecoming and a threat to humanity, now you've got us down in the gutter. And since we're here, because we came from the gutter together to create the country, we came from the gutter in England, came over here and told all the minorities over here in the enslaved African, you're inferior. We're the superior ones. So now the left is going, they're right back in the gutter with the right arguing, but this time the whole world sees it, and they can't blame this on black folks. Not this one, not this one. So you have white people fighting white people, and it's not going to go away. And when the right says you need to act like you got more decorum, the left says, well, who are you talking to? The white people on the left are so upset right now that even Hakeem Jeffries had to show out a little bit a couple of days ago. His whole face got red. I said, oh, it's like that now? Mr. Calm, cool, and collective Barack Obama 2.5, he's got to get a little irritated now? I said, that's where we're at? This is not good. It's not good.
Let me ask you this. Can you come up with a more disrespectful president in your lifetime?
It's debatable.
Give it to me, because I got nothing.
Because George,
who are you asking?
George Bush the son, that joker. What he did,
actually, I was thinking about that too.
I'm not talking about nuclear. I'm talking about disrespect. Who did he say? Because somebody was interviewing Megyn Kelly. Remember what he said about her being on her menstrual cycle?
Yep.
When she was the moderator for a debate.
Yeah. Well, remember you got
something better. You got something worse than that, Jay Glass.
Wait a minute. The only white woman.
And Brooks is laughing.
Hold on.
I don't. I really don't.
The only white woman that got back at him, and she was coming. Now she's corporate, and her name was Carla Fiona. Oh God.
Fiore. I know who you're talking about.
Right.
Man City Brown.
She at that debate, she went at his ass, and he backed off. I said, oh. So the same way Kamala Harris went at him in the debate, and he left, and
he ain't want no more. No more.
Yeah. So it's. I just want fairness on both sides, and I don't like when we try to say, well, he's so out of control, because to me, he's showing you outwardly how a lot of people outside our community feel, but he has the audacity as a Southerner to tell you to your face with an East Coast mindset. That's Trump.
Who's a Southerner?
I said he has that Southern disposition, like a Southerner, to tell you to your face what time it is.
No.
Okay. That's my opinion.
So
my opinion is nah.
Let me ask you a question.
He's a BSer from New York City.
Yeah.
That you look. And I wish, Richard, I wish you knew more people from the Northeast, because they would tell you, they would beat you down with that.
I do.
Because I just picked up a client from.
He said, "Don't ever say that about the South." I know,
Right.
right?
I know.
I'm from the South, man. So listen, Lynn, I work with people from them 5 boroughs, and I know how they come at you. And they never really mean anything. They don't mean no harm, but they're gonna come at you and try you to see where your head's at.
No,
and then they're gonna laugh at you afterwards.
No, if
you
harm.
can take it.
So
in the moment, they mean harm.
Jay Glass, that Melania versus the FCC. To me, what that's about is, since Trump couldn't get him, now he's used like his debit card or credit card is maxed out, so now he's using his wife's. He's just trying to get to him any kind of way he can.
Yeah, because that becomes the final part of this is the retribution campaign that's happened since, unfortunately, and I honestly hoped that he would not do this. Not only did I hope he wouldn't do it, but I also had a better, I hope that the people that were put in position would have known better than to chase after his rabbit holes, but none of them have, unfortunately. We see it even happening again with Comey. Yeah, but
yeah, how ridiculous is that?
That's just wasting taxpayers' money for
seashells in the sand. Really?
Yeah.
Well, really? I tell you what, on that issue, you're probably right, legally, professionally, personally. But I'll tell you what sets me off. It's not that one. It's that going after the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Yeah. Because I was going to bring that up next week too, because we were going to talk about all things courts and legal next week. That's Southern. I want to talk about them. I want to talk about the Supreme Court as well. But the movement of chasing Jimmy Kimmel, since he failed once before, and using his wife at this point to do it, like how do we resolve that? How do we level this out?
If we use the Brooks rule, the Trumps are being stupid, going after Kimmel again, just like the Democrats.
Well played.
For trying to impeach Trump again.
Well played.
So when you try to do something again, you become stupid. Yeah. And if it's again and again and again, you become insane.
I have a question.
Right? Wait a minute. Well, hold on. Well, wait a minute. Because when I ran, I lost, and I tried it again because they said I was stupid to try again. And then I ran a third time and won. And they said
lost every election.
So I guess I am insane. Okay, fair enough.
Right.
I have a question and an observation. Ever since Melania has come out talking about she is not affiliated with Epstein and everything, now all of a sudden she is okay. What I noticed is during the press conference how Trump mentioned her at least 3 times. Speaking of, we were afraid, and Melania, and then all of a sudden she's on camera over there looking like an extra on SNL, like
next.
But I just kept saying, what's the point, of mentioning her if she wants to be, that's like an infringement on her. But in this case, she's up for it because she's there. She's on the sideline. She's not even sitting down, and they're panning the camera towards her. And I'm just thinking, what is all of this? What kind of gumbo is this?
Well, allegedly, she's in a situation where she's trying to clear out the room because if that woman, whoever this woman is that asked her for help,
her former bestie.
So is she trying to? Do you think that she's trying to get sympathy from more Americans to show that she's human or something, as opposed to what was the name of her movie?
Melania.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But is she trying to become?
Yes.
Is she okay, yeah.
She's
'Cause
trying
I'm
to.
like,
So,
why
well,
are we
it's-
there?
we're
We
for-
waiting on her. We're waiting just like she is. She can't wait to divorce this fool. After all of this, she's
Well,
waiting.
It's all
if the rumor is true, if this alleged rumor of the former besties needing her help and she wouldn't help, and the former best friend knows that they were together with Epstein and allegedly she slept with Epstein and did a whole lot of other stuff. If I'm Melania, yeah, I'm doing what I got to do, because in all actuality,
But what is she doing?
the husband and the wife are supposed to be equally yoked. So President Trump's going to do what he has to do to save his ass. So she's doing the same thing to save her ass. So actually, they're actually working together. They're
By
equally
being more present now. Okay, so now she's attempting to be more present. We shall see. And yeah, supporting her husband being a first lady, or what we attribute to being a first lady by all the other ones. Okay.
Well, I guess an article came out because Mikey Famine is saying, I'm pretty sure she got asked for her statement on the record before the article. So she's trying to get out before the article comes out.
Yeah, you
So
got to get in front of it. You have
Yeah.
to get in front of it. Because
Yeah.
if you come behind it, remember what I said about first story?
Yep.
That's a human condition. People believe the first story. That's why Clay Thompson is now looking bad, because he just opened his mouth today.
Yeah.
It's too late, Clay. You
Yeah.
have to know.
Well,
Meg
I'm gonna-
dragged you.
We're gonna probably talk about that tomorrow on the legacy.
Hey.
Tour.
Meg's story is the truth, and whatever Clay got to say right now, he lied.
Yeah.
Well, check this out. Check this
Another
out.
thing,
Does anybody on this show or in the comments, does anyone believe that the last assassination attempt on President Trump has happened? Because I think more are coming before September.
Well, see, for me, an assassination attempt is Butler, PA.
Okay.
If a bullet don't whiz by you,
Okay.
that ain't an attempt. If they
Okay.
catch the person in the bushes, that's not an attempt in my book. If they catch a guy tripping through the metal detector so hard that he all the bullets that they were shooting at
yeah,
him
he probably broke some teeth
missed him,
with the way he was landing.
who did he attempt to assassinate?
Any and everybody.
If you face plant in the hallway 10 feet from security.
Then let me ask. Well, then maybe I didn't ask the question correctly. Does anyone believe that we won't have at least two more major newsworthy incidents before September?
This year?
Yes.
So attempts on his life this year? I don't.
Yeah,
think
because we may have to go through the summer.
I don't
It'll be a
think so.
diversion from Epstein.
I don't think so.
Okay, this is something that I noticed too. I mean, it was in the media, they talked about it. But why is it that this hotel with all of the dignitaries, you know, the president of the United States, why did it just seem like, as far as security is concerned, just a regular conference that you would have with your job? You come up there, come to the table, get a name tag, and, you know, go through the metal detector. What's up with all of that? Because that does not sound right. All of that, that's what I'm saying. Like, all of this kind of, I'm putting the pieces together in my head because it doesn't make sense to me. The security and the way that even it was just open, everybody's talking about it and agreeing about it. It was subpar for the president of the United States, the cabinet, and the media, everybody together. And then again, everybody survives, thank God. And then we catch this guy and we get to talk to him. He doesn't die or kill himself. And we have all of his information. We can go and see the last selfie he took. And it becomes this love fest back and forth. And America is like, woohoo, go America.
But remember what Butler, Pennsylvania taught us, that the outer perimeter is controlled by local law enforcement. And I said, there's no way in hell you can have the president go somewhere and that Secret Service not control everything. That the federal government should supersede local law enforcement. Like if the FBI comes on a crime scene, they take it over. I said they got to fix that they didn't. So local law enforcement.
Let me add something to that, because I lived in DC and I attended events like when I went to the Congressional Black Caucus. Bill Clinton was there, like he was our first black president. He was there every year, I didn't see nary a person. because in DC, the respect for the presidential office is at its higher than no other place on earth. It's just you have respect. So I've seen them walk and move through the rooms like it's not a big deal. Like I can't ever think of a congressional Black Caucus that I went to where Bill Clinton was speaking and the security was
not.
No.
Oh.
I'm saying I don't even remember security. It was like, okay, he is basically, it's almost like every plane that the president gets on becomes Air Force One.
Mm-hmm.
Every house that the president steps into in DC becomes the White House.
Yep.
And that's what I've always experienced. I've been in the presence. Now I never met Bill Clinton and shook his hand, but I've been in the same room with Bill Clinton countless times. And it was never like SWAT and all that other stuff. So when you have an event in a hotel where people are staying there,
which is odd,
but Steph, the Congressional Black Caucus was at the Hyatt, at the DC Hyatt.
Wait a minute.
What I'm saying is, I'm not surprised that they had that level of security. For me, that's on par.
Yeah.
You know, just like how Reagan got shot.
Yeah.
Reagan got shot outside that hotel.
So, but wait, this is where Stephanie's right. If you have a president that's so volatile, that so many people, half the country wants to shoot this man, he can't do outside events because Secret Service has to control probably a 1 mile radius from a long rifle.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't trust local law enforcement. So even when you go to inside events, but this particular president, Hilton, you have to shut down. So Hilton says, well, we have to maximize our shareholder value. We ain't shutting down.
Right. They probably did what Obama's attended that event. They probably did the same thing that they did when Obama went.
Right. But maybe only like 5% of the country wanted to shoot Obama. When you have half the country, there are certain people in this country, if you give them a chance to assassinate this president, they'll take the chance and they take the prison sentence. That's how volatile this man has created the atmosphere of this country.
Listen. Hold on.
You're not wrong.
I don't disagree.
Okay, so listen to this. Okay, it was the 1900s, 1999. I was a reporter in St. Louis. Bill Clinton, he had an outside speech. This is the first time it's when I finally got the Bill Clinton factor, I should say, because at first I used to be like, why are they tripping off this dude, all this kind of stuff. Well, it was an outside event. Of course, he was late because you got to keep the people off. We're the press, right?
Right.
And they had people everywhere, okay? I was aware of that. To even be there outside to see him, there was this stench of just like police or FBI, all this kind of stuff. You see people, you don't see people, it's plain clothes, people, all this, you can feel the energy. So that was an outside event. So that's what, if they can control it to that point, you know what I mean? Because we have our history of them our presidents being assassinated outside. I would expect the inside event to be stellar. I just would. But when Clinton walked on the stage, because he was about 45 minutes behind schedule, and the media, they tell you all this kind of stuff because they gotta watch out for the people who want to hurt him and all this kind of stuff. When that man walked onto us on the stage, a hush literally fell over the crowd. And I'm like non-biased, I'm not a fangirl all the time or anything. But when he stepped on that platform, it hit me. I felt like it was like opium or something in the air. I'm like, whoa. And I got it. Whether you liked him or not, he still had that effect on people. But what I'm saying is all those people were on it. And I was just really surprised.
More presidents have been assassinated inside a facility than outside.
What?
It's true.
Say that again.
More have been assassinated.
More presidents have been assassinated inside a facility than outside.
Listen,
very true.
I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying that I am really shocked at how it was described by these reporters, and how he was able to fly through the metal detector like that. It seemed like somebody should have been standing there where he ran into them, not past them. Even though they were on it, but he didn't get shot. And then I start thinking, am I just so morbid? What is going on? I don't want anybody to get hurt or shot, but I was just really shocked at how he just did.
You know what, Stephanie? If he had been O.J. Simpson, he would have been put down. How's that?
Let me pause this for a second and welcome to the Family Bloodline Network, the Pulse. Mikey Famine, good to see you, man. It's been a long time. It has been a long time.
It's been way too long. James, how are you, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. How about yourself?
Oh, living the American dream.
Or nightmare. We haven't figured out exactly which one it is.
Listen,
3,000% nightmare.
Count our blessings, baby. It's still gravy.
I heard that. I heard that.
Onions in it, and I don't do onions. Okay,
I feel that. So weigh in, man. Weigh in. Where you at on where we at?
I'm just really shocked that all of you are. Sounds like disappointed in the great job that Kash Patel is doing, keeping everybody safe. Y'all act like he just walks around drunk all the time. You know what I mean? You act like
call it the liquor cabinet for a reason, right?
Trying to figure out
to get them doors on there. You know what I'm saying? This is the most incompetent administration in the history of administrations.
All of them are
everything.
New. They keep getting fired. No.
Yeah. Everything is falling off the rails because all of the adults who were trusted with scissors have been fired.
It's funny.
And all we have left is these fools. And they eat Play-Doh. They glue their hands to the desk. They do all the stuff that every other child figured out what not to do on their own. The fact that Pam Bondi was doing, or Thirsty Gnome, Crusted Clown, was doing $120 million contracts with her best friend's husband, and then nobody said anything. And it was just, oh, you guys have Trump derangement. It was like, yo, 120 big ones is a lot of money, homie, for commercials.
And no. That never started with a 2.
And it's like, I don't understand what we're talking about. Oh, yeah, the 120 was just for the one company, one contract.
Yeah, that commercial number started with a 2.
Yeah.
And it was stuff. So it's like, so they're not bidding things out. And it's like, okay, you guys said you're getting rid of the swamp and you're clearly stealing. I called it on January 20th. Buckle up, everybody. The grift is real. They are about to start stealing everything. And every morning you get a new report about how more taxpayer money is going out of the coffers and less money will be going into the coffers.
Well, let me. Oh, go ahead, Rich. Go ahead.
Mikey, you're correct. But when the far right of the Republican Party, if they ever wake up and see the drift or the grift, President Trump's in deep trouble.
They are a part of it. They're a part of this.
The Trump coin.
Oh.
He rug pulled them on the Trump coin. He just pulled out 75% of the stuff on there. So even if you tried to sell any Trump coin you have, it's worthless now. He rug pulled them. They haven't figured it out yet.
But remember in 2015, he says, I'm not divesting myself of none of my business interests. I am not going to show you my tax returns, and I'm going to run the country as a business.
That guy went to jail when he leaked the 2 years or whatever of his financial records or whatever. They leaked it from the Southern District of New York case. I think that guy got 2 or 3 years for that. He paid $650 on $30 million of income. So, and then he's like, that's because I'm smart.
But wait,
that's why we can't afford nothing.
But wait a minute. One quick point on that, and then I'll back up, Mr. Glass.
Yeah.
I can't get mad when the rich or the wealthy use the tax code. So when the Congress, both houses, both parties agree on this tax code, President Trump did not lie on this particular statement. He says, I didn't make the tax code, but I'm going to use it to my advantage.
Yeah. So
he used it against Hillary in the debate. He's all like, I did that. He destroyed Hillary in the debate.
let's
Is that crazy?
Isn't that a moral failing though? Like, isn't it your civic duty to pay taxes? Isn't it patriotic to pay your taxes?
Yeah,
and it's bad to
the president would show his tax returns.
You know, like, isn't it bad to avoid things like civil service, like a draft or a jury duty?
Not at all.
Like, these are your patriotic fees that you signed up for, whether you like it or not.
To Hillary, like he said, I use this, and like because your friends do the same, and I do the same, and you would do it, and now you're coming at me, and he destroyed her.
You know who he was? You know who
in that debate?
You know the financial guy he's referencing there, right?
It's not the point.
Who's the financial guy who's referencing right there who helped everybody on their taxes? And he is so stupid. He used his connection to Epstein to lower his taxes as a flex on Hillary in 2015.
So let me since we're talking about taxes, right? How did we end up pivoting from his friends paying for a ballroom and a bunker to now Lindsey Graham
400 million for us?
Yeah,
400 million.
Soliciting the taxpayer to pay for a bunker and a ballroom. When did that happen? Why is that happening? And is that something that should happen?
He's wrong.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't expect that from you. I thought you were going to go the opposite way with that one.
But here's where it's tricky with this individual. This man tells you I'm a businessman and I am the #1 brander in the world. He may not be wrong by that when he says he's the #1 brander. Hold on to business. I know you're coming for me, Lynn. Hold on.
Good businessman.
I know Lynn's coming. I know. So, but when it comes to branding, he'll put his name on. He'd put his name on our foreheads if he could. So there are some buildings in DC that probably need to be redone. But he lied to us by saying we'll use private money when he probably knew in his heart he was going to use the taxpayer money all along. Because the last time I checked, wealthy people don't ever use their money to help the greater good. No, they don't.
They do in St. Louis. They did in St. Louis.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, I'm spoiled. I'm from like the 2 greatest cities on the planet. So, but
Really?
St. Louis, in St. Louis Forest Park,
St. Louis is not one of the greatest cities on the planet.
Oh, it absolutely is.
I think both of those cities are in Ohio, right, Brooks?
Hey, I'm from
Cleveland and Cincinnati.
Yes, but like, I'm not saying St. Louis, Missouri.
Akron,
It's one of the greatest cities in the
First of all, take the base out of your Take the base out of your
Mikey, what 2 cities, Mikey? I want to hear. What are the 2 greatest cities?
Are we after hours yet, world class? So we can
actually in about 3 minutes we're going after hours. In about 3 minutes we're going after hours.
I have a question. Would this have happened if we had a ballroom?
Yes.
Yes, he wouldn't have had it at the ballroom.
Yeah, I actually think so. Yeah,
they would have still had that. This is not his event.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
This is not his event.
Right.
He finally decided, and he went there with the intent of smoking people.
Listen,
Fake news this and fake news that, and terrible New York Times this and terrible Washington Post that. That's what his intent was, to smoke people. He had the intent of assassinating people from the podium. That was why he went.
Okay.
Because they keep replaying that time that he got obliterated by Obama.
You see what Aunt Emerald said when you said names on foreheads? She says MAGA caps. Check that out. Put a check off that box. Check off that box. He got that.
Mark the beast.
But I didn't hear that 2 cities, Mikey. You got to finish.
As the single greatest city on this planet is St. Louis, Missouri. And if you have any arguments with that, contact somebody who cares. Okay, I grew up on river water and catfish. It's the best place that's ever existed.
Where is that in St. Louis? I'm really curious. I'm from there, and But I've been in Houston.
See, I'm listening to him. I'm listening to him
Oh,
real
I
quick.
thought you said river water and catfish was. I thought those were cross streets.
Yeah, no. He's talking about the water and the catfish.
Yeah, he
Okay,
talking
yeah.
about some catfish and spaghetti with some pickles and,
Oh, with
and
the,
what?
with the slice of white bread for no reason.
yeah.
Hey, you know what?
Ain't
You
even
know what's
toasted.
funny? Hey, check this. Hold on a second. You know what, Mikey? See, Mikey, you should. Mikey,
We didn't do catfish.
Mikey. See,
We
Mikey.
didn't
Hold on.
do
See, this is where I'm gonna catch Mikey. See,
If
Mikey,
you
I'm
don't up the
saying,
other city,
Yeah, what's the
I need to hear the other city. I got to hear the other city. What's the other city, Mike?
Chicago.
I knew you were gonna say it.
Mikey, we did Jack Salmon. Jack Salmon. Fried hard Jack Salmon.
Mhm.
The big long fish that's real thick and fluffy.
Mhm.
Jack Salmon and spaghetti. I actually cooked Lynn some spaghetti and fish the other
Hey, so
day.
you know what?
That's
Hold
all
on, Mikey.
acceptable.
See,
That's
Mikey,
all
you come right tonight, Mikey. See, I'm from St. Louis too, Mikey. See, I know about those big ass catfish and that muddy ass Mississippi.
Hey,
and
the
Merv
size
back
of a
everywhere else.
Volkswagen is what they say.
Yeah,
Hey,
okay.
Mikey.
That catfish that will eat anything and gets his mouth hand. It's like a pig, like a little porky pig. He'll eat anything.
Like again,
The
we
bottom
use
feeder
Jack
catfish.
Salmon.
And I love to this day.
Delicious.
Delicious.
Hey,
I eat it
Don't
too.
forget about the Chinese food.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
It's gonna be a whole ordeal, Mike. What you done started?
All right,
Listen,
who ordering emos?
You gotta say that again because I want an extra large sausage and pepperoni, please, and thank
Yeah.
you.
I only want
listen,
to eat
we-
from the one by the park.
I gotta cut the live, but we are going to continue for a little while longer.
Because
In the
Mr. Brooks is
after
actually
hours.
right on this one. It ain't St. Louis. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we're gonna
Chicago?
continue.
Yes. Chicago,
But
yes.
he said Forest Park, so I feel him.
Yeah,
Forest
we're gonna
Park is
continue.
nice. But see, but Mikey, you messed up. I'm gonna tell you where you messed up at when you said that, taxpayers and the wealthy people. See, when that woman got so upset at the NFL for taking the St. Louis Rams because of Mr.
That's who I
Kroenke out the fucking
Yep, we're going after hours, folks. It's happening.
I know the Rams is a sore subject. We needed them Rams. We needed them Rams, and they left us.
For hours, bro. We gotta go.
Yeah, we gonna be backstage. If you all want to hop on, I'll put the link back in the chat. We'll do after hours for a little while. I gotta make sure I hop up. My ladies and my young man, they gotta get to school in the morning, but I'm still unemployed over here being retired, and it feels good sometimes, especially when you get paid 2 days early. So with that being said, we will do Around the Horn next week. We'll forego it for tonight for the sake of time, but as always, we appreciate you all for coming out and hanging out with us. Mikey, hang on the line so you can stay with us for a little bit, and if anybody else want to hop on, the link is in the chat.
Auntie, come on over. Auntie, come on over.
Yeah, come on. We gonna be here. So with that being said, thank y'all for coming out. God bless and good night.